In this episode, you will discover, and if you choose to do so, you will experience 4 proven holistic methods to stay calm through the holidays and beyond. Who is this episode for? If you use emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, or other energy-based methods for self-care or to help others, you are in the right place. Given the knowledge we'll be sharing, I will be including this episode in 2 of our shows, those being EFT Tapping Junction and Energy Healing for Well-Being. I am your host, Steve Carter, and I'm the founder of Stress Solutions USA and Stress Relief Radio. I do thank you for tuning in to this episode. For details about our mission and my 40-plus years helping people move from stress to success using an array of holistic methods, to include, of course, EFT, thought field therapy, neurolinguistic programming, meditation, and an array of other methods, and to enjoy other episodes of this and other shows dedicated to emotional and physical well-being, do visit us at stressreliefradio.com. From Thanksgiving through New Year's, many of us experience significant increases in our sense of stress. What is supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year? Well, that can be anything but wonderful for many, many people. A report published by the Harvard Medical School's On the Brain lecture series cited a survey by Healthline, and Healthline is a consumer health information site. That survey found 62% of respondents said their stress levels were elevated during the holidays. Only 10% reported no seasonal stress. Holiday stressors include the financial demands of the season, family dynamics, and even health concerns. Some of those family dynamic challenges, at least in the U.S., undoubtedly relate to strong political disagreements among family members. One additional reason for elevated stress, not mentioned in that survey summary, relates to seasonal depression brought on by loneliness, loss of loved ones, and other causes. Are there things you and I can do to reduce holiday stress? Yes, indeed, there are. In a moment, you and I will join the replay of a teleseminar I presented a while back titled Letting Go of Holiday Stress, Staying Calm in the Seasonal Storm. In addition to the center point release or CPR meridian tapping method, you'll also learn and experience what participants in that teleseminar learned and experienced during that live event. Specifically, how to create stress-releasing affirmations supported by Autogenic Training. Autogenic Training is a system developed in the 1930s, and it has a load of research attesting to its effectiveness. Secondly, how to use a simple, powerful method called energy in motion, also known as EMO, and EmoTrance. And number 3, how to apply Logosynthesis, which is an amazingly easy and effective system developed by Swiss psychologist Dr. William Lammers. Regardless of whether EFT or other tapping protocol is your go-to method for self-care or when helping others, having other techniques available to you can enhance your skill and your effectiveness. All of the methods that we'll be sharing can be used along with EFT for even deeper, faster results. During the presentation, you'll hear me reference a teleseminar guide given to those who attended. That guide is available to you as well. To receive your copy, simply create an email with the subject line reading Holiday Stress Guide. You can leave the body of the email blank. Address that email to me at cartermethod@gmail.com, cartermethod@gmail.com, and I'll send you that guide by return email. In addition, I will share the link to the podcast episode of Positive Word Power, where I guide you through the step-by-step process for using autogenic training with affirmations. In addition, I will share the written step-by-step autogenic guide, along with the teleseminar guide and other information. If you are not yet following EFT Tapping Junction or Energy Healing for Well-Being, this is a perfect time to do so. You can follow on your favorite podcast listening platform such as Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else fine podcasts are found. Do visit us at stressreliefradio.com, where you can hear previous episodes of both shows. If you would like to be in touch, email me at cartermethod@gmail.com. Let's now join the teleseminar right now. Welcome, everyone. If you are here for letting go of holiday stress, staying calm in the seasonal storms, you are in the right place. Before we actually get into the specific techniques, I'd like to offer a larger context for the conversations that we'll have. Uncomfortable emotional sensations arise from disempowering beliefs. And those disempowering beliefs and those sensations are activated by the perceptions in a given situation. And those beliefs can be situational, they can be beliefs about yourself or myself, or they can be global beliefs. Examples would be my family never gives me the respect and credit I deserve. That would be a situational, disempowering belief. I'm not enough. I think we've all experienced that from time to time, and that's a belief about ourselves. And then a global belief would be the world is unsafe. How we interact in a given situation can be influenced by either situational beliefs or beliefs about yourself or global beliefs. All of those can play a role. I would like for you to consider a truth that some of the spiritual teachers, indeed just about all spiritual teachers, have shared with us for centuries, and that is simply this: you are not your beliefs, you are not your thoughts. Your true nature, your soul, your higher self, whatever name that you like, truly is beyond thought. That true you is found in spiritual connection between you or within you and that quiet connection to God, to Source, to whatever name that you like. One present-day spiritual philosopher that I'm sure we've all experienced his work is Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart suggests peace of mind is found only in the now or in this present moment. Many others have offered that same guidance. Unfortunately, however, it is so easy to get sucked into our thoughts. The mind truly does seem to have a mind of its own. And it says, no, you must keep your attention here. Thinking is the only way to find the truth. And indeed, like an addict, we're addicted to thinking, despite the fact that 95% of our thoughts They are nothing more than patterns that repeat day in and day out. They may wear different clothing on a given day, but the underlying substance of our thoughts, they keep repeating. Thoughts will come, they will go. Thoughts arise through the processes of the brain and body. We typically don't or we can't consciously manage our thoughts. They just show up. And those thoughts create a cascade of chemical and neurological activities in the brain and in our body. Intensely disempowering and empowering thoughts can typically be felt as sensations in the body, and we give those sensations labels or emotions, and we create judgments about whether those sensations are good, whether they're bad, whether they're neutral. We can consciously choose to focus on objects, ideas, and beliefs. We may not be able to consciously control our thoughts, but we can control our attention. And where we place our attention has an awful lot to do with what thoughts we experience. I've made a list of a few conscious or a few beliefs, rather, that I would like you to consider. That list here, number one major source of suffering is believing my disempowering thoughts are true. Thoughts are simply thoughts. Some are true, some are not. Indeed, there's a body of work by Byron Katie, the very first question in a 4-question process that she offers is it true? Secondly, can you absolutely know that it's true? For the vast majority of our thoughts, we have no way objectively to know how true those thoughts really are. Secondly, I am not my thoughts. I have thoughts, but my true self is beyond thought. Next, stuff happens. Whether I suffer depends on what beliefs I choose to explain what happens and the meaning of what is happening, how I'm experiencing that. We do like to try to make sense of things. Unfortunately, we will look at ways of determining what's true, and we make it up. We have no way of really knowing, in most cases, someone else's motivation, why a situation is as it is, and that's hard for us to accept. But accepting that is one path to greater peace. Thoughts arise, they peak, they dissolve. What blocks the natural flow of thoughts is my resistance to those thoughts, to include resistance of what is. What I resist will persist. Next, it's only a thought. It's only an emotion. When we can get some distance between our thoughts and our awareness, those thoughts don't have near the power that they do when we are sucked into the middle of the thought storm. One belief that I have held forever and has served me very well is the fact, this too shall pass. Lao Tzu tells us in Tao Te Ching that no storm lasts forever, and that is absolutely true. This too shall pass. All of the techniques that we're going to experience, they're designed to restore energy flow in your mind, brain, body, and spirit. And we name that totality the energy body. And the wide open energy flow creates optimum emotional and physical well-being, and it truly quiets the storms of mind. With that, let me introduce you to the SU scale, or subjective unit of experience. The general scale that's used in the medical and psychological professional community is the SUDS scale, or subjective unit of distress. And that is either a 0 to 10 or 1 to 10 score or assessment where the patient or the client is asked, so how stressed are you? And the client will say, well, I don't know, I'm a 5 or I'm a 6 or I'm a 7 or I'm a 2. Whatever it is, it's a relative scale. 10 is as bad as they could imagine. and 0 or 1 is very, very low or non-existent. The problem with the SUD scale is there's nowhere to go past 0 or 10. Dr. Sylvia Hartman, who is the chairperson for the Guild of Energists, formerly the Association for Meridian Therapies, developed what she named the SU scale, or subjective unit of experience. The SU scale begins at -10 over on the far left, and on the far right is +10. -10 is as bad as you can imagine. +10 is as wild and exuberant and as good as you could imagine. 0 is neutral. 0 on the SU scale is equivalent to 0 on the SUD scale. But Dr. Hartman, in her wisdom, recognized we want to take our felt sense, our energy flow, not just to 0. We want to take it up into the upper areas of 7, 8, 9, and if possible, into a +10. And there's a number of ways we can do that. Positive EFT, EmoTrance, a variety of different methods that some of which we'll experience on this call. As a beginning, I'd like you to identify a stress response activator. If it's not holiday related, great. If it is, even better. So if you would complete this sentence, one source of stress during the holidays for me is blank. If you have copies of my handout, you can go ahead and write that directly on the handout or just write it on a sheet of paper. If you have the handout, you see the SU scale on that first page. One way to engage your subconscious mind in assessing how stressed you really are is to let your fingers do the walking. Slide your fingertips up and down that SU scale with the intention of allowing the fingertip, say your index finger, to land on the number you're experiencing right now in this moment, as far as your stress level for what you just wrote down. So go ahead and have a go at that. Jot down what that number is. If it's negative, which I'm assuming it will be, it's somewhere on the left side of 0. So just jot that down. We'll see if we can move that certainly up to 0, but perhaps even higher on the SU scale. Now, if you would complete this sentence, one positive thing about the holidays or this situation is. So we want to allow our attention not only to focus on the negative of what is bothering us, but we'd also like to know what's good. Now, here is something that I always recommend to do with all of the clients before we engage in any change activity, and that is simply yawn, sigh, stretch to calm mind and body. fMRI studies tell us and show us this simple act clears the prefrontal cortex, which is the executive area of the brain where we do our thinking, and it renews, refreshes. If we do this every 30 minutes or so, stand up, yawn, and stretch. Sigh. Close your eyes, smile. Reach out the hands and feel the ends of the fingertips and beyond. Yawn, sigh, stretch. Good. I'm going to unmute and I'm going to ask a favor of someone. Let's see here. Let me unmute. Okay. Margie Ann, do you have any holiday events coming up that either you're going to see people that you're not keen to see, or something that I've got to do this, but I'm really not keen to do it?
Yes.
You do. Okay. I'm going to mute everyone and then just work with Margie Ann here, so bear with me. So what I would like you to do, Margie Ann, is identify the situation, and you don't need to share this. This is not something that you need to tell a story about. Just identify the situation, whether it's going to be a party, whether it's going to be just a get-together with 2 or 3 people, whatever that is. And you expect that there will be some level of stress associated with that experience. So I'd like you to create a short, clear, positive affirmation for that situation. Okay. So example, I choose to remain calm and in control in the presence of boom, whoever. Okay. That's just an example.
I understand.
If you would write that down, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
I don't need to know it.
Okay.
But if you write that down, just a short affirmation of how you want to choose or how you are choosing to experience that. Right.
Right. So what you're looking for from me is a positive way that I'm going to walk into a situation where it may be negative.
That's correct.
Okay.
So how will you deal with it within your own mind, within your own sphere of energy?
I refuse to, no, not refuse. I choose to stay calm whether they like the food or not.
Okay, cool. Excellent. I choose to stay calm whether they like the food or not. Now, I'd like you, if you would, to take a breath. I'm assuming you're seated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So comfortably feel the seat where you're seated. Close your eyes. Pay attention to your breath. There's no need to breathe in any special way. Just pay attention to the breath. And am I on speakerphone with you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You're better.
Okay, cool. So I'd like you to place both of your hands either in your lap or on the arms of the chair. And I'd like you to focus attention on the right hand. And as you feel the right hand, if your eyes are closed, open those eyes and look at the right hand. And say in mind, as I say out loud, my right hand is heavy. My right hand is warm. My right hand is heavy, warm, and relaxed. Repeat, my right hand is heavy, warm, and relaxed. Without moving physically, maintain the felt sense in the right hand. Compare the feeling in the right hand with the left hand. Does it feel different? There's no right or wrong answer. It just is. Is there a difference?
No. It feels the same.
Okay, that's fine. Return attention to the right hand. My right hand is warm, heavy, warm, relaxed. My right hand is heavy, warm, relaxed. My left hand is heavy, warm, relaxed. My entire body is heavy, warm, and relaxed. And as you're relaxing even deeper, go into your mind and create a movie, a video of how you choose to behave, what you choose to say, and shoot that video from the first person, meaning your own eyes. Hear any dialogue, feel confident, and we'll give you about 10 seconds to do that. And since there's food, I'd like you to look at the food, smile, and know that that food was prepared with love, because it is. And now I'd like you to bring attention to that same scene as if you were watching that video on YouTube. See yourself in the video, see the participants, other people, and notice how calm and confident you are. Notice details in the room, the food. See the smiles on the people's faces. Really feel that experience as you see yourself exhibiting the chosen behavior as if watching yourself on video, television, YouTube, whatever. Make the imagery big and bold and bright. If there's music, hear that music, dialogue, and add, if appropriate, any other sensory details that would be there, and feel the rehearsed experience. Good. Good. Now, you'll run that movie 2 or 3 times a day over the next 3 or 4 days, and you will write down your affirmation on a card or piece of paper, however you want to do that, even in your phone, and you will read that periodically every day for the next 2, 3 days, and then leading up to the event itself, to remind yourself of what you are choosing to experience in that event. Okay? And when you repeat the affirmation, repeat it with emphasis on different words. I choose to remain calm. I choose to remain calm and in control. Okay? Or whatever you have chosen. I know that's not exactly what you wrote down. Now, take a breath, if your eyes are closed, open your eyes, look around the room. Now, we did not get a starting C scale number, but what do you think it would have been?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier today because I have some different things I have to start making on Wednesday. And I was thinking -1, -2.
Okay.
Were there because I really wanted to please everybody that's going to eat the dinner or some of whatever I'm bringing. So yeah, it was aggravating me.
Okay. So -1, -2-ish. I'd like you to re-access that created image that you had of this party, and where are you on that Sue scale? You might let your fingers do the walking if you choose, if you have it. If not, you know the drill.
This is easy because just even saying out loud that I'm going to choose not to let them make me upset for not liking whatever, and so I'm going to choose to be calm, already elevated it to the point where it's between a 7 and an 8. I really feel confident that I can choose to handle this differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I am choosing. No, I've bought into that. I will choose and do choose to see this differently. So,
Okay, very cool.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Good. All right, so I'm going to open the line here in a second, and hopefully other callers had a go at this as well. So let's open the lines for a moment. Anybody had a go at that? And if so, what were the experiences? Carol, I'll ask you first.
Oh, what I had chosen was very similar to. No, it wasn't either. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm thinking in 16 different directions. I first started talking about the food, and then I realized what I had to take this year. It wouldn't make any difference, and it was just, went from like a -2 up to way, way, way below. I mean, I just feel so relaxed about it right now that I just feel like I could lick the world, and just being able to stay calm, cool, collected. So I'm probably about an 8 or a 9 the way I feel right now.
Okay, and that's on the plus side, right?
Right.
Okay, Aziza, what were your experiences, if any?
My experience was my disturbed side, my negative emotions were probably around 6 or 7. And
Minus?
Minus 6 or 7, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And so I ended up at about maybe a +3.
Okay.
I'd like to, I'm sort of thinking that with a little bit of practice and continuing to do that affirmation work, that I could get the positive emotion scale to go a little bit higher.
Okay, cool. Yes, this is something that gets stronger as you practice. Yes, it's like a rehearsal. You wouldn't go into a play without knowing the lines, right? And so much of what we experience in these holiday events, it's structured. We're going to go to a family event. We're going to go to a work event. We're going to have to interact with people we may not want to interact with or otherwise would not. And yet, we want to be in a place at least of neutrality and preferably of feeling good about whatever it is that we are choosing in terms of the behavior in relation to that situation. And you can use that situation if you would like, Aziza. Would you be up to having a go at an EmoTrance experience?
Sure.
All right. EmoTrance, energy in motion. It goes back, prior to EFT, or about the same time EFT was developed. EmoTrance was developed by Dr. Sylvia Hartman. No tapping. It's very simple, very, very easy to do. The idea is we want to identify where we're blocked, and the blockages are present in the body. And those blocks can be in different places. They can be in any number of places. So I'm going on mute with the exception of Aziza. Bear with me here. Do you have another experience you'd like to work with, or would you like to continue with the one that you worked on to begin with?
I think I would like to continue with the one I worked with.
All right, very cool.
Potentially advance that forward.
Okay, good. So I'd like you to re-access however you imagine the situation that you were working with. Close your eyes, breathe, settle into the body. And I'd like you to ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? Where do I feel this situation, this person, this experience? Where do I feel that in my body? And allow your hands, and if you're holding the phone, just one hand is fine. Allow your hand or hands to touch the area where you feel that energy blockage. Let me know when you have that.
Okay.
Now, I'm guessing this may have actually gone back. We didn't get a starting SUD Sioux level. My guess is it's probably gone back a little bit, but maybe not. So where are you now on that Sioux scale?
I'm at about a -5.
-5. Okay. So I'd like you to, as you're holding the area, and what area are you holding?
My solar plexus.
Your solar plexus, and that's very common. It can be anywhere in the body, but it's typically in the forehead, throat, heart, or chest area or solar plexus. Close your eyes, really connect into that felt sense in your body. And I would like you to say these words, preferably out loud. Soften, 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 and flow. Go ahead.
Soften, 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 and flow.
It's only energy.
It's only energy.
Where does it want to go?
Where does it want to go?
Soften and flow.
Soften and flow.
Now just be present. And I'd like you to notice, is there any difference? And if so, what's the difference? Is it as intense? Is it more intense? Is it the same? Has it moved? Is the character of the felt sense different? What do you notice? No right answers. Go
I've
ahead.
noticed that it's moved.
Okay.
And it's moved up, like past my heart center. It's sort of at where, like under my my clavicle. Like if I put my hands on my chest on either side, I can feel it there.
Good. Raise your hands to the clavicle area. Touch that area. Connect to that felt sense. And then say these words, soften, 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 and flow.
Soften, 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 and flow.
It's only energy.
It's only energy.
Where does it want to go?
Where does it want to go?
Soften and flow.
Soften and flow.
Take a comfortable breath. If there's tension in the shoulders or anywhere, let that go. Now I'd like you to connect with that new area. And what do you notice? Is there any change? Again, no right or wrong answer. Has it moved? Does it feel different? Is it the same? What do you notice?
So it's moved again, and it's moved up at my throat and the front of my neck.
Okay, cool.
Throat area.
Good. So place your hands to the throat, the front of the neck area. Connect to that felt sense. And again, say soften, 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 and flow.
Soften, 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 and flow.
It's only energy.
It's only energy.
Where does it want to go?
Where does it want to go?
Soften and flow.
Soften and flow.
Take a comfortable breath. Check in with that felt sense. And by the way, feel free to run Reiki in there, self-Reiki as well, if you care to. But I'd like you to check in what's different. Is there anything different?
So the sensation is certainly less intense, but now it's a little bit in my face. It's almost like it's been sort of trying to navigate up and out.
So touch the face area and say out loud, soften, 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 and flow.
Soften, 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 and flow.
It's only an energy.
It's only energy.
It's time to go.
It's time to go.
Soften and flow. Soften and flow.
Soften and flow.
Take a breath, smile, and now check in. What are you noticing?
That it feels good. It's much lighter, and it feels comfortable in a space that even if I were feeling a little bit stressed, it wouldn't be a stress that is uncomfortable for me.
Right. Okay.
Like it doesn't feel out of control.
So going back, we had dropped back to a -5 when we started. What do you sense that it is now?
I'm at about a +5.
Okay, good. If you want to continue that, it's the same drill. And sometimes the feelings will run all over the body. and they may take a detour back to where they came from, but ultimately they'll leave. The felt sense or the feelings will leave. And they want to go. They really do. So now through that path, starting at the solar plexus, then it went to the throat, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or the chest?
Yeah, it went to my chest.
Chest, throat.
Yep.
Okay,
chest,
so what
throat.
I'd like you to pick a positive energy form that you would like to experience right here, right now.
Okay.
Such as courage, peace, happiness, whatever, butterflies.
Okay.
What's the positive energy form you've chosen?
I chose joy.
Joy. Feel that joy and allow that joy to come into the solar plexus. Soften, and flow. Help it. Move it as you would a Reiki. With Reiki, move it up now to the chest. Move that joy. You're helping it. We found the path, so we want to encourage the path to open wider. Bring it up to the chest, soften and flow. Joyful energy, soften and flow, and bring it through from the solar plexus up through the chest into the throat. Soften and flow as if you're guiding it up through the face or to the face and out. So in, up to the chest, throat, out, faster. Move that flow of joy. Go in, whoosh. Feel that flow through that channel. Faster, 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 faster. Feel that joyful energy flowing in, up, through, and out. Take a deep breath. How do you feel?
I feel good. It's funny because when you go faster, you get a little bit of a sense of like an increased exhilaration with it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Like it gives it a momentum.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, cool. And there's information on the handout. I'd like to walk us through logosynthesis. It's a very simple, very powerful process. I spent 4 days learning this from the creator, Dr. Willem Lammers, up in Canada. He's a Swiss psychologist, and he has been working and developing logosynthesis. And it really involves 3 simple sentences giving instructions to the subconscious mind to find where our frozen energy is located. Because when we have negative emotions in his worldview, that is equivalent to frozen energy in our energy bodies, in our energy system in the field. It can be inside or it can be in the field around us. And as simple as it sounds, it's profound in the results that it can achieve. I'd like everyone to pick one issue that they would like to let go. And I am again muting everyone. Settle in, really get a picture in mind, a felt sense of it. Get your starting SU scale rating on it. I'm going to read 3 simple sentences, and I'm going to ask your subconscious to act on those sentences and proceed as the intent of the sentences suggests. So since I don't have specifics, I'm going to simply use the term that which is stressing me. I retrieve all of my energy bound up in that which is stressing me, and I take that energy back to its rightful place within myself. And the self refers to your soul. And we will allow that to process. We'll let that process. Sentence number 2. Now, when I say in this sentence, non-me energy, what that refers to is energy that has been allowed to enter your energy body or your energy field, but it is not your energy. For example, things that we see on television, things that our teachers have said to us about us, such as girls are not good with math, or you're not as smart as your brother. Those kinds of statements, usually when we're small or young, rather, if they're said by an authority figure, they can be taken into our energy system, and they're not ours. It's not something we concluded, but it's energy. It's an energy form that is in our system that we've accepted into our system and is acting to influence thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, etc. So here's sentence number 2. I remove all non-me energy related to that which is stressing me. I remove that energy from all of my cells, all of my body, and my personal space, and I send it back to its origin, and we'll allow that to process. Sentence number 3, I retrieve all of my energy bound up in all of my reactions to that which is stressing me, and I take it back to the right place in myself. And we'll let that process. All right, take a breath, smile, look around the room, and I will open the lines here. Okay. Anyone would like to share what their experience was with that process? I can't help myself. I'm going to just pick on someone in the front row, and I'm seeing you here in the front row, Sharon.
Okay.
So what did this do anything for you?
Well, you reminded me of something because we've done this once before. And what it reminded me is to do as the sentences have told me, to send it back to where it belongs, to remove it and put it back to its origin, and to retrieve my own energy to the right place. And what it really is focusing on for me tonight is my right foot and my right leg, which are in a lot of pain. And reminding me of these sentences, because like I said, we used them once before a long while ago. It helps me see that, helps me to feel it differently. And it went from a -9, which it's been like, you can have more than multiple numbers, I think, through different experiences.
Sure.
The pains I'm getting from this leg in the last 2 days have definitely been there and around the -9. And it's taken it in a little bit of focusing without a -1.
Okay, cool. What you would do with this is continue then to reaccess. Yes. Repeat, reaccess, whatever you're noticing and feeling in that foot, the physical discomfort. And I would do this logosynthesis for the physical discomfort and for any emotions associated with the experience of the foot discomfort.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to close us out here as far as the process is concerned with a modified tapping protocol. I developed this as a way to help people who are simply not going to take the time, or they get confused with the normal EFT tapping. The two things that are blocks for many, many people with emotional freedom technique tapping, the two things I hear constantly are, 1, I don't know what to say, and 2, I can't remember the tapping sequence. With center point release, there's not much to say other than just, I choose to let this go. I choose to release X. In this case, we're talking stress. And the tapping protocol, you don't need to remember where all the points are. you simply come right down the center of the body. You start with both hands over heart, tap the crown, hold, take a breath, tap the forehead, hold, take a breath, tap underneath of the nose, hold, take a breath, tap underneath of the lower lip, hold, take a breath, tap across from the collarbone point, shoulder to shoulder, up and down the sternum. I recommend using the tips of the fingers. And then you simply close with release and peace. Hands to heart. I choose to let go of this stress or whatever the issue is that you're experiencing. Tap through the points, about 5, 6, 7 taps at each point. Hold, breathe, move to the next point, tap 5, 6, 7 times, hold, move on through, tap across the chest, hands back to heart, deep breath, comfortable breath, release and peace, smile, and then spread your arms and just stretch. You obviously would check the starting SU scale evaluation number, and at the conclusion, check it again. And if you haven't moved into positive territory, or at least -1, 0, +1, a neutral place of neutrality, continue to tap. Usually 2, 3, 4 rounds, and you're good. Whatever it is that's bothering you is done. You're finished. And you can then choose a positive energy form, and you can tap that in through the same process. Rather than I choose to release this stress, I choose to bring through my energy system the energy of joy, the energy of happiness, the energy of confidence, of competence, whatever it is that you need in that moment, however you would like to feel in that moment. That's what you tap in using the CPR tapping protocol. I encourage you to have a go at that at your own convenience. And I'm going to reopen. Okay. Any questions about any of the things that we've experienced or anything that I've talked about tonight or anything that you would like to share?
I would just like to share a thank you to everybody for being here. I could feel your energies. I don't even know how I'm doing that, but thank you all.
Thank you, Margie Ann. Any other questions or any other comments? Aziza, go ahead.
I just thought that the exercises were, I like how they built upon each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do them sort of as a step up process, or you can do them individually, that they would work either way.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. Carol, any thoughts?
I knew I had some unsettledness about it and stuff, but this really clarified what I was thinking and feeling. So it gives me some really good tools to do it, and gave me the opportunity to look at what it really meant to me and how I could change how I felt as well as change the energy. And I thank you for that. And like the other two said, I could also feel the energy of the group and could feel this all building on each other. And it seemed like when you got the one exercise done and the stuff was released for that, it was like you could see what was hidden down underneath it and work on that and release that.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Emotions very often are layered.
Mm-hmm.
We think that there's one problem and we clear it, and then all of a sudden, boom, up comes another tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good way to look at it.
And the good news is we keep chopping away, and pretty soon no trees come up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, some additional resources. They're in the handouts. Also, there's another resource that is not in your handout, but I have several podcasts, and one specific podcast that if you have interest in experiencing a full autogenic training experience, if you go to positivewordpower.com, there's 2 episodes. One's an intro episode, and then there's one that's longer. A lot of interest in that. I've had multiple hundreds, almost 1,000 downloads for that. There's about 7 or 8 minutes in that podcast of me commenting on the importance of affirmations and how it's important to frame the affirmation properly. And then following that commentary, there's, I don't know, a 12, 15-minute presentation or experience, rather, guided experience on autogenic training. Autogenic training simply means self-training, and it's a form of self-hypnosis. It's been around since the 1930s. It was developed by a German medical doctor, and it was developed about the same time as progressive muscle relaxation. So with that, I will say thank you to all of you who participated. It's always a treat to chat with like-minded folks. So thank you to all of you. Blessings. If you have any questions, email me, cartermethod@gmail.com. So until our next trip together, blessings, light, and love.